Okay, so I'll do the grant one first, and then we'll do the other one.
Yeah, just standing live now. Okay. Oh.
Ready to go when you are, Jill?
Yep, you start.
Rightio, 24.9.5 grant budget recommendations, hosted by none other than Dylan Rushbrook.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'll take the report as read. We've obviously had this discussion not long ago in the workshop.
Yeah.
So this is in regard to your grants budget for the next 2 years, as we go through the short version of the plan. As was discussed with the board, because you are sitting on reserves for your community grants and promotions and events grants, the suggestion which we put forward in the paper here is that you use those reserves for those grants over the next 2 years. And we've also put a provision in here as a recommendation that we won't need to go to council to answer those because otherwise we'll get that sorted, so there's not that paperwork process that we had to go through last time. So yeah, open up for any questions.
Okay. Has everyone got that pretty much fresh in their minds? So for your sake, Curtis, each year we had 5,000 in the community grants and 2,000 in the promotional grants that we rated for. And people could apply for grants. Over time, those numbers, the 21,000 and the 16,900 odd dollars, have accrued, and they are being rated.
Yes.
So it was decided that rather than get another fresh batch of grant monies, and that we would be rating for that we use up for research over the next couple of years. We've had some difficulty with justifying the grants because the drawdown on them wasn't, the applications wasn't that high. And we were trying to push it up, but being told to push it down.
For the next 3 years, and
Yeah.
we're going to money to give out, so it's a really good.
And it just takes stuff out of the wood pile that doesn't need to be there. So I'll move that we pursue those recommendations A, B, C, D, and E. If I can have a seconder, please. All those in favour say aye. Those against say nay.
Aye.
Carry.
I think I answered it. I'm thinking before there's no more grants for the whole that's separate.
Yeah, there was.
Yeah, it's its own.
Yeah.
So this is the community grant and the promotional
Yeah.
grant. Yeah.
There's a total of about 40,000 for over 2 years, is it?
Yeah. 21 and 16 is 38 and a bit. Right.
Sarah, is it Alex?
Not right now. I just tried to call her, but she wasn't answering.
What am I?
Sit right up, Mr. McKenzie. Update to the register of delegations for community boards.
So where we are right now is being on all the community boards and with the community council to get feedback on that initial sort of starter that it had. And then in Appendix 2 is what we basically come up with based on that. And so one thing that Tom asked us to do was, once we've done that, come round again to do a sense check for the 18th of December, which is when we're going to take this to council. But really, my question for today, how's it looking? Do you think there needs to be anything moved around or anything like that before we look to take this to council on the 18th?
So do you want to give kids a little bit of background as to the difference between what we were doing and what was proposed?
Sure. So the community boards have quite a wide ranging hour to add. And with the another politics organization is more than one.
The what, sorry?
It's the district funding model. Yeah, the district funding model.
Yeah.
Organisation.
Don't mention more. With the district funding model, a lot of those things could be taken away. And so what we're working on is a new set. Yeah. And so if you see appendix 1, that is like a start. You'll sort of rework the old ones to come up with something as a discussion, that's what I call it, with the document. And that's been refined into what's coming to appendix 2. Most likely, well, we'll go around all the board, make sure that those things check, make sure that that looks pretty good, and then we'll take it to council on the 18th of December to see if there's any other changes, what you think, like that.
So this is what we can do.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I'll be having a tell here, but what can council do for us? This is what we can act and what we can advise.
Yeah.
I mean, ideally, it'd be great to have something in here so that the council will advise us of things they're undertaking in our ward.
But it's not delegation thing.
No, not fully, no.
This is like our job description.
Yeah. I suppose it's like,
Yeah, true. That's true.
yeah, I was saying, we've got a bunch of, it's all the stuff we can do.
We delegate.
We're going to do that stuff to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't, what you're asking is how do you know that when we have input on a roading or on parks and reserves in the area, that feedback on that to us on what the council acted on?
Yeah. It might be.
Some of that's captured in their relation to works programs within their department size for those things. And we have talked about something quite similar to that, in that it's not really a delegation.
No.
But it's more of a culture. Yeah. And we're trying to work on that to say,
Yeah. Two-way communication.
yeah, for instance, if somebody goes to council and then someone can, there may be a question, well, but what does the community board think of this? If everything is going well, the report writer will say, well, we talked to the community board and they said, da 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 da. Of course, that gets like the council take it on board or not. Guess it depends. But that's, a culture thing I think that we're going to have to try and, foster.
And I mean, we're working on it in some respects with, something as simple as those status reports. Just the feedback, creating that feedback loop.
Is that the least program? Yeah.
So this is all, this is like the beginning of the long-term plan. This is what it was 3 years that those sorts of things, but at the end of the long-term plan, we're fast moving into regionalisation, there is done districtisation, now we're going to fast move into regionalisation. Where do you see community boards being in 9 years' time? You know, as council within the region start to amalgamate more and more, and you know, will we have a voice at all?
What's up? No.
It's an interesting question, Jill, because I think the harder we work at it, the stronger our voice will become.
Yeah.
So they're a little bit like if we make them reliant on us and our community for information and action, points of action, then we'll survive. If we sit here quietly, then we will disappear. Rightio.
I guess, is there anything there you think that might be missing or not feeling quite right or anything like that, that I can incorporate?
I'm pretty happy with it.
So, well, will we still receive our quarterly reports, but there'll be nothing to report on, anything will be on the grant. And we get our quarterly financial reports, we just got one today.
Because we're still going to get reports on anything that's in relation to our board, which is all of those works programs. So we still will be finding out about what's that's in here.
Are you referring specifically to the finance?
Yeah, will there be a ward-based finance report on the future?
Not in the current. So essentially is, we said earlier, we still need to work through all the reserves and figure out what's happened there. But in essence, what your ongoing budget will be is your grants budget. And so Dylan's team will report up by that where you're financially at. I can have a chat with Paul when I get back to the office around how we still maintain oversight of your reserves. But essentially, there's going to be no real great movement every quarter. So I'll take that away and think about how we keep visibility, but definitely won't be in the current quarter.
And that's what I was meaning about before. If we're proactive and we've got things on the go, we're going to want to know where, you know, like what's in the ward services reserves that we can apply for, or doing something to the Miller's Flat Hall, for example. Yep.
You know, that's pretty easy, we can just pull that out of the system, but yeah, let, Sarah, if you wouldn't mind reminding me, to be chatting with Paul.
Will we get like an overview of the district budgets as well?
So that goes up to council, so everybody can access that, that's in the open agenda, so that goes up and will still go up every quarter.
Right, it just won't be delivered to our table.
No.
Right.
But it won't be,
But
there won't be any ward, it won't be dissected down to ward level, will it?
No.
The roads budget won't have and the parks and reserves won't have
But we can still ask the question.
Yeah, that's right, because they still know with roading and water, they still know what's being spent in our ward. So
Yeah.
we still don't know what's
Yeah.
going to be spent here in terms of parks.
Okay.
it would be nice to, and this is slightly off, but topic, but it'd be really nice for the community board to have a point of contact with people like the Land Transport New Zealand and stuff. 3 months later, we've still got no bloody lights in the main street.
We can set it up ourselves. So
You can do that.
There's nothing to
That
stop
doesn't
us.
have to go through council.
There's nothing to stop us.
Dylan is your lead officer, and get,
Mm.
Dylan can back the office and get,
We need to move light splits.
Which ones?
All of them that are out.
And you know what the next question's going to be?
Thank you, Wayne. I'll just move that report be received. Can I have a seconder, please?
Yeah.
All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Those against say nay. Carried.
Service records.
Oh,
That's the best way to do it, because then it gets often recorded.
Yeah.
And then we can follow it.
awesome.
I'm pleased to know that I put a request on the street planners, Christmas street planners, and I think we're getting them. They might even be up.
Diane's gonna put them up.
There we go.
Awesome.
See,
Yeah.
you ask and you get.
System works.
So they have, we had a meeting Tony, and it was. That was next day. Okay, I'll put one of those up.
She's joining the line, I think.
Yes, yes. I'm fine. She's, right, Alex is gonna join us online, but I'll go to the table.
Go on then.
But
I was trying to read you spoken.
you can go my second, I think. The unreasonable compliance lawsuit. Sorry, genius, right?
Yeah, yes.
Hi.
Hey, it's, yeah, you look good for minutes.
Sorry,
You good for me to quick into this one?
go on then, Mitch.
Yep. I won't speak much because actually I'll leave this to Alex because it's really her paper. She's with the policy of the community experience team. I guess this is a council policy, so we're seeking your support and bringing this out to you and letting you know that it's being developed and being making you all aware. Essentially, we're taking guidance from the Chief Ombudsman of Carolyn Field complaints and not just your standard complaint, those standard complaints that you deal with on a daily basis. It's more persistent, very serious ones that can involve things that can have a negative impact on well-being of people, whether they be the complainant or the person receiving the complaint. We do pretty quickly, particularly the group managers and CEO will jump out if there's a complaint that is happening in the front desk area. The one of us who get out there, I know that it often runs out there, the customer service team needs support, not going up and stuff. So we do have a process, but this is putting in place the policy. It's also just for the members, because you will be receiving complaints from people. Sometimes some of those complaints will have an impact on your well-being. So this is this. So Alex, I'll hand over to you if you'd like to hand that.
Thank you. I believe you should be able to see my screen now.
Can't hear you. First challenge.
Challenge number 1.
I can back online because I might have to speak.
Yeah. Do you want me to keep talking while you look at the microphone? Because I can hear you.
But from time to time, we have to the lockout, so we actually not to do it. But it's not. So we've got processes in place that are secure the and we have one group of the season for this.
How's the sound going?
It's still not hearing.
Still my okay.
The microphone is
Your microphone's on, right? Headset's connected, right?
Have you turned it on and turned it off? I've turned it off and turned it off.
We could go back to the old school telephone again.
Let's do that.
Do you want me to?
Mr.
Nice is connecting to the phone. Really nice in your house.
Yes.
Mobbing and everything.
Alex is calling. Right, we have Alex online. Here we go.
Hello. Hopefully you can all hear me okay there on that one. I can hear you perfectly through this, so I'm not sure what's happening.
We've got you.
You got me? Okay. So the outcome we're looking for this meeting is really to introduce you all to this piece of work and also get any feedback from you before it goes to council. Oh, should I hang up that one now?
Yeah.
Checking you can still hear me with that music.
No.
No, okay.
No, bring back.
Oh, yeah.
The unreasonable complaint conduct policy, the complaints policy, and a series of factors that underpin those pieces of work. And I've got 3 key terms to introduce you to. That's customer resolutions, unreasonable complaint conduct, and managed customers. So the first thing you need to know is that we have a complaints policy and that contains any work before we appoint someone to manage customer. And it's a 3-step complaints process, pretty much exactly as Dylan just outlined it to you. Most complaints can be addressed by the frontline staff face to face. Occasionally we need to escalate that to a manager, and occasionally we need to escalate that again and higher. And when we have something that crosses 2 or more departments, sometimes we have a specialised complaints process. That can sort of be viewed on this next slide, or hopefully appear in a moment, of the complaints model. And this is the Kapiti District Council complaints model that I just copied into PowerPoint. And what it's trying to represent here is the each of those is the number of people we estimate to be impacted. So as you can see, that very small arrow on the side marks UCC, and that's the complaints we're talking about here now, and that's expected to be a huge minority of complaints. Most people we would expect to be resolved within those processes. So this minority of complaints, those are exhibiting what we call unreasonable complainant conduct. That's been defined by the Ombudsman as any conduct by a person that, because of its nature or frequency, raises substantial health, safety, resource or equity issues for council. And there are numerous, sorry guys, I'm going to there are numerous negative impacts of that conduct, and that's really what this next slide should be showing you. I can see the complaints model still on the screen now, but the slide on my computer is a series of negative impacts. Okay, well, they're going to catch up. Yep. So unreasonable complainant conduct can include unreasonable persistence, and that's someone who just won't take no for an answer when the complaint has been heard and answered. Unreasonable demands, which is people asking for things that we just can't do, and unreasonable lack of cooperation, unreasonable arguments, or unreasonable behaviour. And the Ombudsman has developed a series of principles around how they'll be treated, and we really aim at ensuring equity and fairness is in place, and that the council can use its resources efficiently. That's the most important thing here. So when we experience those behaviours from customers, we can respond to those behaviours, but we can't use it punitively to punish a customer either. So if somebody is being unreasonably persistent and continuing to contact us on the same issue, we can restrict the number of issues we will speak to them about, but we'll keep the access open for other issues, maybe similar overflows, and they need council to come after that. And those are those principles there. I'll make sure you've got those to have a look at. And it's all covered in the managing unreasonable complainant conduct policy that defines those behaviours and it outlines the different responses that we'll have in each of those circumstances. It is the sample policy that we were given by the New Zealand Ombudsman, which is the New South Wales Ombudsman's version. And the reason for that is because the Ombudsman is the overseer of these complaints. So we need to make sure that we're following those processes. The next slide here is what that process is, and what's really important about this is that we make sure that we are speaking with customers who may be exhibiting these behaviours and letting them know that those behaviours are unacceptable, giving them the ability to address it, and regularly reviewing our processes to make sure that as their behaviour changes, our processes change and that access to services can increase again. And then this slide here is just to let you know that it's likely that you will start to receive contact from some of these customers, or maybe already, and that we do have support for you as well as for staff through that. You've got Dylan as your leader or your contact for this committee. We've got Louise Fleck, we've got the CEO and the mayor, helps to inform the chief of the army on these ones. And we also are able to extend the employee assistance program to you if you ever require it. I've just left this last slide here for you so you can see the next few steps, and it's communicating the level of understanding. We want to make sure all staff are aware of the process and are able to identify this behaviour. There's all customer facing staff and that greater detail of identifying the behaviours of people that are coming for behaviour, and then making sure that our elected members, leadership and ELT are all aware of these processes in their roles, and then we'll be communicating it out wider to the entire community beyond that as well in early next year. So sorry to rush you through that, but that is a presentation in a nutshell.
Any questions? No, it's sorry.
Yeah, who decides what's on next time?
It's defined on the announcement, is referred to by Alison Kelsey.
It's all laid out in the policy. And then the same series of things we need to take on when so it's been unreasonable as well. The main point I want to make clear is that at the moment the only tool we have is trespass, which is a complete cease and observances. So this it's unwieldy, but it looks it's designed to give more communication and trespass over the top. So to give more options and so make sure that people who are exhibiting those behaviours will have access in the ways that we can keep open. It's about keeping access open rather than closing it.
All righty, you've got any questions?
Oh, not me, I think that's great. It's great to have that in place.
You finding more and more people getting unreasonable, or is just there's something that just sort of like sort of happens and now you know, putting a wrap and a shell around it?
It's becoming more and more is what I would say. When I had first moved here, using the system in Auckland Council, where we're using it quite a lot, it was quite refreshing to come here, but there is becoming a greater need for it.
Right,
Okay,
thank you.
so I move that we receive that report as per the recommendation. No seconder, please. Those in favour say aye. Those against say no. Carried.
Thank you, Alex. And then leave your day.
Thank you.
The mayor's got a runner. She's supposed to give us a report.
Yeah, I haven't received anything through. So just have no report. This.
One thing I did notice that, buddy, that report that she created there, how long does it take to produce something like that?
The report.
Yeah, literally just a,
Oh, the policy.
that policy.
We've been bouncing that around for a little while, haven't we?
Really depends, some policy you can buy employers and then stop doing.
Yeah.
Others, depending on, like, sort of, especially getting, maybe like this one, so. So really.
So, yeah, that one's probably been developed for the last 6 months or so.
Okay.
It doesn't mean 6 months worth of work,
No.
but over the period of time, talking to the customer services team, talking with executive members,
Peer
really
reviews.
back through. Yeah, exactly.
But interesting because she used equity as a model, and up in Capital, we've got people that can no longer insure their own houses because of their climate change model. So you're going to have a lot of really active people, you know, and that's up to 2 kilometres inland. You know. So is there a real comparison between Capital and Central Otago?
Oh, look, I think that's just a framework, it's a helpful graphic, but so it's not using capital as that's the goal.
Yeah,
It's just a helpful graphic to explain how they function.
Right, so we'll put a hold on or pass over on item 24.9.9, Mayor's report, which and it's the 24.9.10, which is the chair report. So in the previous 6 weeks, I've of course attended the the meeting on the 28th of November, was it? To formalise Curtis's membership to the board. And at that time, we also discussed terms after that meeting. On the 27th of November, I provided an update to council on the Teviot Valley Community Board activities. Spoke about Mark's for the Millers Flat Sports Facility initiative, Burns, our new member, and our desire to develop our master plan, incorporating the open spaces strategy and the spatial plan and the community plan that Rebecca's working on, all the while keeping a downward pressure or minimising the upward pressure on rates being our focus. That same week, I chaired a health update presented by Hayley Anderson, who's the Chief Executive of Dunstan Hospital. I gathered together a group of health service providers. I was approached by Hayley to come and give an update to members of the community that I thought might be interested in hearing from her. So I've got a couple of people from St John's, the Medical Services Trust, Rest Home, the pharmacy, and a few others from around town. And we had about 10, 12 people. Really interesting discussion that Hayley basically took us through. Talking about the challenges in rural health, the community, and what she believes the Valley will benefit from in terms of collaboration with allied services and strong working relationships with the Ministry of Health, and all the while she is offering to mentor us through those and to help us develop those networks. She's come from a very strong background in health and holding a number of chief executive positions and working with PHOs and so on. So we were very fortunate to have her spend an hour and a half of her time with us. I also attended a couple of pool meetings and, of course, the regular rest home meetings, business group meetings, and entertainment centre meetings. One of the things that's come out of an initiative we're pursuing at the rest home at the moment is we're looking as to how we expand to meet the needs of aged care in the Valley over the next 30 years. And we've met with a funding group that's got a global presence, and they're a philanthropic funding group, and they're interested in what we're doing. So interesting to see how far that takes us. And the importance of all this is the number of projects that could be undertaken in the Valley will far outstrip the availability of, I guess, funds available from the normal avenues like CLT, ACT, the community and so forth. So we're going one step further out. And these guys are pretty keen. Got a history of investing in facilities like aged care and medical centres and so forth. No. Yeah, that's about it for me for the last 6 weeks. Been busy. I move that my report be accepted. Have a seconder, please. Sally, all those in favour say aye. Those against say no. Carry. Members' reports. Start this time with you, Mark.
Thanks, Norm. Yeah, it's been quite a busy time the last 6 weeks. It's been good. So I've got a modest here, talking to Curtis and convincing him that sitting around the table is a good idea.
Thanks, Mark.
Most effective. It's the most effective thing I've done. We had a couple of chats on Burgess, or Berms, I don't know which one it was, but Burgess or Berms. I was lucky enough to host the mayor to Miller's Flat for a 2 or 3 hours of showing her around.
And she did mention it at council.
Oh, that's good.
Yes.
Yeah, so I had a little itinerary for it. Yeah, I truck and drove down there and back again. Showed her the important things. Boom months. Ettrick, drive through Ettrick, yeah. Packing sheds, honey, vegetables, the hall, and all those things. Anyway. So we had a good itinerary, that was good fun. Done a bit of work on the living wall, so that's ready to go up just about, and had a bit of a. So there's a timer that runs the water of the living wall, and I was working with that, trying to get it, try to get it right, and it's in the ground, and the pipe isn't there. That's another. Someone had stolen the pipe work. The one pipe was still there anyway, working the timer, but it was part of the big, and it's too hard, so I left it, and then away I went. And anyway, the next day I get an emergency call. There was water pissing all over the toilet. Because the toilet did work. It's just.
And you got the husband.
The found the hose, it was good. It had been, you know, to be fair, the guy said it didn't look very tidy, so he cut it off, removed it, and anyway.
They just unplugged it.
Oh,
It was Ken, so he
Anyway.
unplugged it and put it out of harm's way.
Pipes for that wall now, I'll show you which good. It's good. The ladies put a whole lot of liquid seconds together. But yeah, done a lot of work on the North Flat Sports and Recreation Hub. And I still a project in its infancy yet. Who knows if it'll come to reality? But you've got to do a lot of groundwork before you can present something. So we've got some designers, talked to some funders, talked to some suppliers. A major issue at the moment is the survey plan of Miller's Flat. The whole of Miller's Flat, the survey plan is between 4 and 5 metres out. Every house's survey is out. Almost everyone's garage is on the next door neighbour's section, according to the survey. And it's so scary.
Just keep it like it is.
Well, yes, that is what we should do, but the question is, do we go and get everyone's boundary adjusted and resurveyed? Imagine the cost of that, and all it is one person says, stuff you, I'm not changing mine because I've got some grass next door I didn't know I had. I don't know what, and it's probably going to have anyone else here from the council to talk to. No, it's just, it is a really, really serious issue.
It comes up in Oxford all the time, so if all the boundary lines are out.
But it's almost like the geo map is wrong. The map should just get moved 4 metres to the north, and then everything will be fine.
Yeah, I do understand the point. I think that's one to definitely have a chat with Lee about. I can connect you on that. And there are a number of others around Central Otago that get picked up at an ad hoc basis when it properly gets reviewed, because obviously now it's in the new system, which is more accurate than the previous systems, and so therefore we start to realise some issues of the past, which
If we start changing,
but I understand your point. Sounds like it's actually out of alignment.
40 houses in a row, and all of them are 4 metres out.
I'll connect you with that.
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, so that project, who knows where that's going to go. Teviot Prospects had a couple of meetings, had various community meetings at the municipality hall. Lots of them, very visible. We have to get some more chairs and we have a. We've only got 100 chairs, so. Attended the famous, very famous Roxburgh, annual Roxburgh garage sale, 60 garage sales. 1,000 tickets sold. Yeah, so that's great. Garden tour run by the Prospects happened as well. And went to a funding clinic, which was quite interesting for community funding things. That was fun. That wasn't at Buzz Hall, as well. And spent a day and a half watching the US elections.
Yeah.
I went to the business breakfast, yeah, I was. Oh, it's funny. Yeah, I get found, I can watch every day. Leading the world.
Joe Biden.
Don't say that online.
So.
Thanks, Mark. Jill.
Roxburgh, the medical centre. So they, we've now got under new, getting involved, is bringing in new ideas and looking at ways that that committee can actually reach out and be of good use to people in the community. Thinks we could do a lot more, especially with, advocating for good health in our younger population and, yeah. So that's ticking away quite nicely. Actually. Quite impressed with it, so, yeah. And then just a couple of prospects meeting and getting the Christmas, we can no longer, it's a bit sad, we can no longer show off the street because we can no longer afford to pay what already paid to do road closures, which was really quite. It was neat when our Christmas things were in the main street.
So part of the reason for that was when Jimmy and Robin lived there, and they used to do that as a service for free, so I wouldn't have to pay for it. And they lived here.
Yeah, but it's expensive too, to do traffic control and stuff like that, which I personally question. Ross was very easy to divert traffic right from the main street. It's better for retailers if we have it in the main street, but yeah. So that's about it.
Thank you. Curtis?
Yes, what about minute to, member of the group that's struggling along, Teviot Water Care Group, which improved the partners, but you formed it, the regulation coming at us from the last Labor government. We did a lot of water testing in the region, but we're still meeting, 4 times a year, quarterly. And we just, yeah, sort of, because it's very regulations, I think we just sort of, just following along a little bit of, and the community, we've got a couple of grants left to spend, but put it in hibernation for now, and it's literally maybe which should come more pressing again. Which is, yes, it's got a lot of interest for found membership basis just for what hasn't changed. So anyway, it still exists there. If anyone's got any ideas or initiatives around water care they want to see happen or get involved with, the group's open to anyone on this farm. While they speak for us, then we over workshops that we
I'm involved with the track, and we're going to do some native planting. We've done one down the pole.
Yeah.
And I took to Rach from the High Trash. She came
Yeah.
down and she said, "Oh, you never spoken to the group show."
Yeah.
But we're going to do some planting days, and even just getting your expertise with your group would be really cool.
We have considerable funding for days, and
Yeah.
we struggle to come up with
Well,
topics. One of the days is fun.
we've got to, yeah, we've got to, and also even just using your guys' expertise,
Yeah.
because we're kind of a working group,
Yeah.
not experts at planting.
Yeah.
So it'd be really great if we
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Yeah, Austin Gardens, the chair.
Right.
the-
Yes, I've spoken to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's that, Teviot irrigation coverage and tile, there's, yeah, meetings, finding a lot more. Just, yeah, we're just a lot going on in that space too, but we're boxing on, we're trying to find our way there. Something else.
Join the community board.
Oh, yes, that's right. Yeah, I got a phone call out of the boat. I was on the side of the road in Spawn and I had to tell Mark I needed to phone on. He said, "Oh, you've got a day." And I was, yeah, it was literally out of the blue. And then, so I had to think on it. And my main concern was around the time constraints, but then everyone's time constrained. Mark's following me up with an email the next morning actually outlining what the group does or what the board does and it sort of optimised for this actually but going on. So just, yeah, given it from here and I'm very impressed with well, no, I would say well, I'm very there's a lot more on the plate than I possibly anticipated. So no, I like that. It's good. I like the issues. So it's good.
I think today was a busy day.
Yeah.
Thank you. Sally.
Group meeting, so that's our Roxborough group that it's set up, and we've been doing some really good practicing. So the last meeting we got the Starlink working and gave it a try. We got the generator running. To the guys were like, "No, you can't plug the Starlink into the power. We're good with the generator outside," so they got that started. One thing that's kind of come from it, because I also in the next day got involved with it was a district, a region-wide emergency training day. And so just as part of the training, they asked our group to radio in to head office. And I have to say, if I'd been asked to do that 6 months ago, I would have just stumbled and gone, I can't remember where the radio is, I don't know how to plug it in. We honestly had the radio set up in 2 minutes, we were good to go. But we don't have very good reception here and our aerial, so it's actually highlighted to Derek that we need to put a proper aerial on the roof of this building because I could hear everything they were saying, but they couldn't hear me responding. So I think that was really great. And I just saw an email come through last night from Derek that we're going to do some practicing in the new year with the money and photo and with the noise flattening with us. We're going to do some radio practicing and seeing if we can all communicate with each other. So the group's going really well, and we're working on a local brochure for Roxborough, what we do in an emergency, and we're using just the template that everyone else has done, but we've actually tried to simplify it, and we've taken a lot of wording out of the brochure, and we're just trying to have like steps that you've done with numbered them. So 1, 2, 3, this is what you do, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So people just go, oh, okay, these are the steps, and we tried to take a lot of the fluffy stuff out of the brochure so that you just read really the important things. So that should be coming back to us to have a look at from the designer before Christmas, and then our group meeting should be. That's good. There's lots of full committee meetings before, which included the discussion on the investment of also open of invested December. And we had a really successful opening day. We had Sports Central come down, and they actually organised the Lions Club to do a barbecue, so people got sausages on the day, and we also had Mr. Woodley set up, which was quite cool. And then Kate from Sports Central, the favourites in the pool, and she did some games with kids around river safety, and they had prizes that they could win and stuff, but it was all around educating them on river safety, so it was, yeah, that was pretty cool. In Sports Central, so if you just email an update, we've got some kids that were trying to build bike jumps on the walking track at Grover Silk, so they actually dug up the walking track to get bike jumps in. And then one of the really big jumps that they're coming off the rock, their landing was so one of the kids, bless him, has come to see me, and so I talked to Gordy about it, and we decided that then was the perfect person to actually talk to these kids and come up with a solution for them. So the only thing that we're going to make sure they're going to meet next, is it Monday at 1:00? It's next week anyway. One day they're meeting the kids, Ben and one of the teachers. They're going to go down to Groversville and they're going to look for spot kids getting those jobs because they're really, really
That
keen.
is so cool.
And we want to make sure they can do it. We just don't want them to do it without doing it. Yeah.
Right.
So that's pretty awesome. And the other thing is Ben is really, the kids are going to really relate to Ben. I think if I went down there and just looked like the rest of the council, Ben's going to be young and cool and the kids are going to really relate to him. So that's pretty awesome. So he works for Sport Otago and he is contracted through. So he came, yeah, you know, Ben, he came and took us.
I'm so glad they can do that.
Yeah, and the other thing that we may be able to pull into that as well, and I've spoken to Ben and also one of the mothers of one of the kids knows the, is it Phil that was on the, got the good award on TV from Alex, that maybe he could come down and actually teach the kids properly how to building jump, because I don't think their technique's very good. I think their job. Yeah, but you know, like if they actually had someone guiding them how to build a jump would be really
There's
amazing.
plenty of expertise.
Yeah.
That can help.
Yeah, and I think the kids are really excited about that because we don't get one kid come and talk to me at the shop and I think, well, you know, how about if we got someone down and taught you how to do it? And they're like, oh yeah, it would be amazing.
And
So,
not just the build, it's also looking after them,
yeah,
because you've got to look after them, treat them properly.
yes, I think it's really great. It's great the kids want to do it and it's really good if we can channel them into the right place to do it. Yes. Awesome. Just on Grover's Hill, I have had a lot of people complaining to me about the state of Grover's Hill in the Hemlock, and so it completely took over. And it, when I first reported, it was probably about that high, and then it grew to above my head height. So the whole of Grover's Hill is completely covered in hemlock now, and all of our native plantings are completely smothered as well. You can't see the natives. It's, well, if you try and look for them, you can see them, but they're hidden in the hemlock. So the whole thing. And I know that it's not parks to look after the hemlock around the natives, but I'm just not sure what we should.
There's a company, engaged the contractor and literally spraying and stuff.
Right.
Yeah, which. It can definitely.
Okay, right.
Yes. Almost a finish of these techniques and spray. And it's no doubt. They'll do a spraying of the trees and whatever.
Okay, that's good.
Rabbits are quite a problem through there too, aren't they?
The rabbits are real. Yeah.
So is that, Gareth's plot as well?
Yeah, I remember we did do a good cover there before we passed, but.
Yeah,
Yeah, come back.
Yeah, and they can do with fire.
they are.
I don't know, we have got covers around all the plants, so.
I reckon that a lot of them have been chewed.
Yeah, a lot of them have been chewed, especially the more grassy type. ones. Yeah. I do just want to also make a point. Someone said there was a comment on Facebook about the LGNZ conference and people having wine at the conference. And so I just really want to say on record that when we go to conferences, we pay for alcohol, like you pay for wine at conference. And there was also, I think, some comments around how much it costs for accommodation and stuff. So when we go to Dunedin, we have a counsellor who runs a flat in Dunedin, and we stay in the flat, and we even share bedrooms. Like, we're budget, we're really budget. So I just,
Yeah, it was the LGNZ.
yeah, so there was 2 of us that went out of the whole district. The first night that both of us were there, we went separately and stayed with friends, so we didn't pay for accommodation for one of the nights. And on the any alcohol that was at the conference, the sponsors that sponsor it, so it was not. So I just wanted to clarify that. Okay, so now I'm just going to quickly move on to my council report, and it's been pretty busy at council with lots of LPP workshops. So The last one we had was the 13th of November, and it was on levels of service for community facilities, as you know, we just activated with the forms. We talked about free waters making up a big part of our rates again this year. We talked about community board priorities, so for the Teviot Valley, King George Park, curbing, rubbish bins in Roxburgh, development of a master plan, and does infrastructure support our growth? They will be the things that were recommended from this board to council. And we also had an update on delegations, but we've discussed that today. On the 27th of November, I had a council meeting where the Teviot Valley Spatial Plan was signed off, and I just want to again thank Anne for the work that she did, and then she looked at our aspirational growth projections. So I think that's actually something that's really exciting for this board, that we've got this spatial plan and that we are looking at being aspirational in our growth and, you know, where we're going to put our growth. So that was a really big piece of work. So, that was great. The grants policy was signed off. I don't know if you want me to go over any of that. And then I was just going to mention that we had to give some money for emergency works funding from the October weather event that mainly affected the Maniototo. It didn't affect this ward as much. So in the Maniototo, they had in some areas, they had 1 in 20 to 1 in 30 year events in the district. So they got really hammered. We were more, I think, around 1 in 2 to 1 in 5 in the detail. So what that meant was that our response cost $980,000 to repair those roads. So we've gone to NZTA to seek 51% for that, but it's to get to fix that roading. And we also discussed local water done well, and we have agreed to give council the authority to look at combined BCO with Southland, as well as looking at what it would be to stay in our own, whether it's a CCO on our own. So it's going to be looking at both of those options.
I've seen in the media that potentially others might join.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, the more that you have in it, the more economical it would be for everyone. So that's something that will bring up. It depends on the timing of the some monitoring. It might not go on and let our timing with the monitoring plan, but there's a lot of work being done in the space at the moment. And then on the 28th of November, I attended last Thursday a strategic building workshop in Dunedin, which was really interesting, and I think it's something that could be really interesting with more project marketing in this place. So I'm just going to tell you like the 5 core concepts of what strategic building is. So the first thing is that people come together with different skills and characteristics. Secondly, assets become available. So they might be assets that I have. So my asset might be as a councillor that I can talk to council about finding out if we can lease a piece of land, for example. So that might be my asset, is that I've got good communication with council and I can make something done. So all people bring with them assets and resources. And you look at what assets you have available right now, because someone might say, oh yeah, I've got a room that I could rent or give to you for this project. Oh, but actually it's not available for until 12 months. So assets that you have now, a core team forms, and they then bring within those assets, resources and their networks. And then the group plans a workshop, and then this group undertakes a workshop, and they work with 10 rules and 4 key phases of process to develop several projects. So you first of all brainstorm a whole lot of projects, and what you do is you come up with a project set that's called your Big Easy. So it's your easiest project that you can deliver on, and you also have a concept in the 30-30, which is everyone in your group goes away and in 30 days you have to meet and every single person in the group has to have come back with the one thing or whatever things they said that they would accomplish by those next 30 days. So Oamaru, workshop on this to try and revitalise some of the old town in Oamaru. And it's one of the groups that got together and used this concept to really achieve their outcome that they set out to do. And they've got other groups that are also ticking things off. So it's really it's a real enabler for communities. It's very interesting. And that's me.
Thank you.
That's obviously, we said this to the end.
I'll move that those reports be received. Will I have a seconder, please? All those in favour say aye. Those against say no. Carried. Right, status reports. Take it that you've all read through them, and if you've got any questions, we'll manage them by exception today, rather than go through each of them. Has anyone got any questions or comments about them?
Any surprises with the entertainment centre process and job? Any more, you know, you had a couple of big things jump out at you?
Bex was here before, she would have been the better one to answer that, but it's pretty much done. We had to get some dampers. Well, she says here the dampers are in New Zealand and are on their way from Auckland. So the heating still isn't working, but the construction work is pretty much, well, is finished on the repairing the back wall for the town hall. The fire lighting of the boiler room is awaiting the installation of the dampers, and I think that that's just about finished. But we're still operating under that CPU.
I'm not going to be much on a report next week when next month when all of these.
Well, we're not here next month. You can be here.
So we'll only have two things left on the list. Entertainment centre. Yeah.
Which is great.
Yeah.
Feels good. So if you're all happy with that, I'll move that this report be received and have a seconder, please. All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Those against say no. Carried. Right. Date of the next meeting. February the 5th. I'll put a little apology in now.
Okay.
Oh.
My daughter's getting married. And one thing a weekend.
Right with you.
Meeting close.
Right.
Oh, I'm gonna be close to.
And so we'll move on to workshops, but I'll just keep the same live link going.
Roger that. We're still live.
Public workshop.
Curtis, who wants to meet Julie? Julie, it looks after.
Maria's going to keep it concise and it's going to be about 10 minutes only.
Say again.
Maria's going to keep it concise and it's going to be about 10 minutes only.
Good luck. So Maria's going to be talking about.
She's talking about open spaces and recreation
No.
strategy.
Right.
Okay, right, I won't wait until to.
Just loading now.
You can go up when it goes up. So, I'll introduce myself first, I don't know if I've met you all. My name's Maria, I'm the Open Spaces Planner, for Capacity, and we will be on board here. So, I am here to talk to you about the Open Spaces strategy. And I'm sure that you've heard about it quite a few times already. Today's workshop is all about your feedback on the draft strategy. So just to kick us off, I've looked at the district vision process stats, and I just wanted to pull out a few stats here about what people consider to be important to them
area. So number, in the top 7, we had, they were all related to parks and recreation. So access to a natural health environment for leisure and recreation that needed and is a second most important factor. I won't go through them all, but what I'm trying to say here is that this stuff is important. So this strategy is going to outline how we plan to use and develop our parks for the next 30 years. The purpose of this workshop is to bring you up to speed with the strategy so that when you ask your feedback, we actually know what it is we're talking about. The open spaces and recreation strategy is being budgeted for already. So this is a thinking project, not a speeding project. Don't need any money from you, just need your feedback. As we workshop through this today, I'm going to ask you to try and stay at a higher level with this stuff. So we're thinking about the overall open spaces network. So it is important to get into some of the details, but it's about thinking about how it all makes sense.
Yes.
Okay, so the 3 points that we're doing today, so it's the strategy snapshot, that's what it is, why we need it. And then we're going to focus in a little bit more on the Teviot Valley. And then I'm just going to explain to you what the next steps are and what we need from you. Well, okay, so, yeah, we do need to give some context. So, the Central Tiger region is becoming more popular to live and play. So we know that our population is increasing, and this is really important to think about some of this stuff. We know that the expectations of what we're providing, that's changing in terms of recreation, and we need to think about the demographics. So we need to think about whether our population is aging, that type of thing, which is relevant in the Teviot Valley. So we have already done a couple surveys. We've managed to get all of the community's feedback. We've used that to inform the strategy. And we've had some really clear feedback. The clear feedback is that people really care about connectivity. So in short, that's getting from one side of town to the other without going on roads, off-road connections.
All right, so where was that information gathered from?
So we did pre-consultation before we wrote the draft of the strategy. So we did 2 surveys, they were district-wide.
2022 and 2023, so.
Yeah.
And what was the response like from the Teviot Valley?
The response was low. That's something I really want to focus on today.
Our 81-year-olds want to be able to drive from one side of town.
It's already for it, so don't feel as though it's yours. Because
So yes, these are maps of the.
Electric will drive everywhere.
So basically what we've done is we've looked at our parks and we've gone, right, we need to break these into categories because that informs like what sort of happens at these parks. And so the important ones I want you to focus in on with like sport and recreation parks are obviously key. So you can see there, the other ones in the route and I've got the radius around them. So the strategy says that sport and recreation parks, they should be within about 1,500 meters of your home if you live in an urban area. Not always, but most of the time, that's what we're targeting. Neighborhood parks, now we're thinking like your small park that might have a swing, that type of thing. It might have toilets, it might not, some picnic tables. We need those, or we're aiming for those to be within 500 meters. So that's about a 5 to 10 minute walk from your house because there's no point getting one all the way down there. If it's so far that you're not using it, it's no point. So, and then the big thing is making sure that they're all connected. So we call those recreational and ecological linkages. It's just the brain line, it's just a pathway. And that is something that's going to be important as we're looking about.
It's got stuff from my office school from John down, my through the actually George Park, and once you're off the road, and that's the route.
It's too broad, they have our footpaths are in shocking condition.
Yeah, it's
Speaking
all
of-
about parks and
And Joe, NZTA have handled the layout on there, so guys worried about getting the names, but
So the important part for all of you to really think about here is we've gone in and we've done, we've looked at each ward because this stuff is different for every ward. There's no point in having a blanket approach. So it's important to focus in on the Teviot ward. And when I say I want the feedback, I mean, I really want feedback on this because I was looking at it today and I was thinking, I actually just need the community to tell me, have we got this right? Because right now, I'm not 100% sure. I think we're on the right track, but yeah, we need you to give us that confirmation. The main things that we have found. So we found that in terms of sport and recreation parks, we've got enough land in Roxburgh. It's a good coverage. The neighbourhood parks, when we looked at that, were fairly well covered by the recreation reserve or King George Park. Up the other end, it's not as straightforward because not all of the land that we're relying on is as necessarily, or it maybe hasn't been, developed to have the same facilities as down the other end. But it's not to say that it's not working.
And well. Acceptable.
So the north end of Roxburgh, we're up in the Bible Village.
The
Roxburgh, right.
And this is really normal, like across the district and across New Zealand, to rely on the land providers that are not us, like DOC and Land Information New Zealand. So you'll see we haven't actually added that land into this, but it makes up part of the strategy. So when you're thinking about this, it's sort of trying to get that bigger picture. Like where are the true gaps?
So school grounds that are presumably the normally Minister of Education. Where do you put them on?
So they're not included in this council plan, but some schools, I'm not sure about this one, do allow after school use of facilities.
Yeah.
And I think Miller's might not from memory.
That's right. And
Yeah, so probably different in each school have got different rules, so we haven't done that at this stage. And what we're concentrating on is we think where it looks like Roxburgh, for example, is pretty well covered. When this growth in Roxburgh and where that goes through the spatial plan, then we'll need to look at perhaps providing some small neighbourhood parks or somewhere and some linkages through that where the subdivision so people can, find their way back to
We've
town.
got several, there's that common ground down the road, it goes down, like, is it Twister? Yeah, by Reservoir, sport down there. So it's lovely land there, and it is that little park. So maybe city mile coach.
That's
Yes.
Roxburgh's pretty good.
park right down the swimming pool as well, where we can develop without a sponsorship or something, like that, because it's sitting there, it's.
That's all.
Yeah, and really the frontage, so that would be, and because a lot of people use the rugby trail now, with their kids on bikes and scooters and stuff like that.
Probably now is another thing,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
It's just like.
So I think that was the cycle traffic.
So it's not in the strategy, but that's something to keep in mind. Yeah. And so in the strategy, we specifically said under the like Teviot Valley section, we said that we have to support trying to sort of make sure that those off-road linkages are more formalised like that. So that's heading in the direction that we want. In terms of the numbers, it looks good. So we just want to know, is it working? And
Don't need to know right now, you can think about it.
Yeah.
Emails at some point. Give us a break.
so we're currently up for consultation until next week on the 9th. So you can still encourage your community to give us the feedback until then. You can give the feedback on the Let's Talk page until then. We are saying to all the community board members until Christmas time, where you want to sort of receive the feedback going until then. And if it's a matter of us coming and sitting down with you and having a chat, we're keen to do that. So
So the metrics, the layering of the ball and that like, the next page is.
So
They've
that
got
one-
developed, yeah, and they're well covered as well.
Yeah, and all context, like when you look at, when you look at some other places with these radius maps, like even outside of Central Target, you'll see that there'll be like a really big gap. There'll be two circles, and then there's a whole bunch of residential homes in here that aren't covered by the circle. That's not good. We're wanting to avoid that.
Different colours.
What you see here is everything pretty good.
Sports and rec.
Yeah.
We do have some Miller's
Yellow.
you know, council built
Yellow
line,
is
sports ground.
pivot
so there's a
areas.
vehicle.
What's there another? Next to it?
Oh, sorry, the yellowy ones.
Yeah, yeah, and then
Yeah.
cultural heritage.
So that's why.
That's back up.
Yes, that's for the public, yeah, that's nice. And
You guys.
you guys put Christmas,
Oh,
a last minute Christmas gift for us.
What's the yellow? What's the dark yellow? What's the
Orange, yeah.
orangey colour?
About 100 civic cemetery,
That's the city.
yeah. Yes, the main ones that we're focusing in on, like today, is thinking about Swan Root, neighbourhood parks, and the recreational and ecological linkages, so that's just connecting it all together. But it's what Gordy was saying is if development happens outside of those circles, that's a trigger for us to go, oh, okay, development's happening outside the circle, that means those areas aren't covered. And we need to make sure that those developers are providing land and the, yes, yeah, right. Yeah, spaces. Yeah, I mean, this has been a bit of a speed version, so I'm very happy if you call me up and we can talk about it, but yeah. So what's going to happen now is, yeah, report feedback until the end of the year. Next year, we will go through and we'll start to update the strategy with all of your feedback. We'll hear the submissions and then we'll go back to council for approval.
So what's your end goal? Because this is like doing the regions, yeah, if the needs of the thing.
Not everywhere because it's, I guess, more so for the urban areas. You can't do that outside of the urban areas. The goal, I guess, is that we've got a bit of a plan about what good looks like because before the strategy, we didn't have that. And so we couldn't say this is where we need to have parks. It wasn't, yeah, we don't have it in writing.
So what does good look like?
Good looks like, well, I guess this is giving us a bit of a guideline. It's that 5 to 10 minute walk to your neighbourhood park. And I say that carefully because we're based it on a 500-metre radius. That's sort of the guidelines that we get from recreation up to that, and that's, yeah.
Yeah, I think that, and I think it's to answer your question a bit further, so it's to guide council on how it deals with developers and development for supplying open space and maintenance as well. And as Maria said earlier, the survey has had that people value their open space in the district and a lot of people come here to use it. And we recognise council is not the only supplier of open space. We've got, for instance, Miller's recreation, we do maybe have one that they supply as well, and then some of the private ones. Some of the open space, and like the golf course is councils, but it's not really in reality somewhere you can go and play on. But so it is those and get out of that system. So it's all that, and then it's providing fit for purpose. Or what looks good and what people, develop what people want, and then demanding, go up rugby fields everywhere well. And this demand, when you can build sort of that, that's not what we're seeing in sport.
Yeah.
I mean, those club sports. In a bit of development at the moment, because it's more paid sport, people don't pay out, that work and run down or pay off or pay, can't go down and go home, it's things rather than paying for down, set that,
You got some good looking models somewhere.
Yeah.
Is that Tamer?
Yes, it is. Yep, reading book under a tree. I had to get my selfie stick down to the park, so if you get my photo.
Who's under the hat? Is that you, Gordy?
That's Gordy.
Yeah, that's taken this week,
So,
out on site.
The way you want them, please, Lord. Is there anything?
great for feeding in my.
I guess we can sort of open the floor bit to you guys just to see if you have any questions. There's the on there for them.
Okay.
I'm just going to give Raz the feedback around on the open spaces, because that's in part of the strategy that says that they want to enable the community to do things in that spaces. So I just want to give you a little bit of guidance around that and not just say those words, but actually maybe give some direction of how groups could do that. So I'm just using the walking trails as an example, wanting to plant native plants that, yes, you can go onto this land and, you know, this is how we could work together, and because it's a win-win, because we go and fundraise, we plant them, and it keeps council land and tidy. So it's just kind of building that out a little bit more so that groups can get a really clear idea about what they could do and go, oh, wow, we could actually get a group together and increase them.
Prospects in the past, and probably in the good future, involved in the state.
Yeah.
And you need that, living law is all sort of great.
Yeah.
Stuff.
Yeah.
And it was things really well.
And we're involved.
Council welcomes to the.
Sports, not space sports.
That, part of the strategy,
Yes.
part of that's what.
Yeah.
But the council, is a part of it.
No, and that's, you know, it's great to use the time and expertise, as Sally just said before, because if you've got a group of people who are quite motivated.
Yeah, it's your group, what you do. No, it's fair, you know. Good on you.
Do you have anybody on staff who's actually got a background, some experience in program design by chance? So that's not a core council thing, but you have somebody that in a previous life had been a
Playground design,
typical.
corporate standards.
Thank you. I look forward to that.
Keep learning themselves. But it's got a little bit more relaxed.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks. It is Julie.
Waiting in the wings.
Hello.
Right. Right. Yes, so I'm coming along today, Mrs. Bell. Okay. Not so it's the improvements for and so the slide that's up here now, will show you our capital program for 3 years is currently looking. So over 10 years we're looking, and this is data, so we will put it into the finance system and apply inflation to those figures, but we $50,000. So but because this came out of my spreadsheet, it's not a finance system, it doesn't have inflation budget. So in today's dollar public, yeah, $276 million, of which 130 million is water and must be 46. So when we started doing this in January, we were doing a 10 back in January, and then council decided to have a meeting plan. We at that point we were looking at a $400 million capital program for the 10-year period. Other thing to note that there's lots 10 years of this current year is we won 13. It's not 10 years from last year. It's 400 million, and the reason it's gone down quite a bit is because we had looked at the messaging that's been coming from the government around the changes that they're proposing to make to legislation and the potential applications of that on a program. So that most significant implication that we anticipate is that where previously we would not have continued consents for discharges to freshwater or our wastewater sites. We were having to plan to go to discharges to land. We believe that we're more likely to get the ability to continue to have discharges to water. However, there'll be and consent conditions across New Zealand will be standard still. So we don't actually know yet what those parameters are going to be. So we're having to do that this week.
So it's $150 million worth of different.
That
And all this.
so there was $110 million budgeted for Alexander's wastewater treatment upgrade because company discharges just the confluence of the Manukau and rivers. And we were needing to move it to land. So we were looking at our draft proposal
we were basing our budgets on was that we move it to a block of council where would have possibly been up near the airport somewhere and have a discharge terminal up there, which would have meant we had to come out as well as on the treatment site. So it's changed in value from the 110 million to around 35. So that's the thing from underway.
Still sounds like a lot of money, doesn't it?
Scaled back a lot. It's still a lot of money. It's still, yeah. And we've scaled back some of our water treatment upgrades and like so Kangaroo and Ranfurly, to, because we believe we'll get a little bit more latitude, and drink water standards for small sites. But that stuff's got to be tested yet, so we're taking some risks around this project. We think it's a calculated risk. So if you want to understand where that money gets spent, so we have to split our programs up into 3 different components. There's level of service improvements, there's renewals, and there's growth. So renewals are where we have existing assets and we're just replacing an existing asset with another asset the same as the one that exists. Growth is the component that we're building bigger for more infrastructure that cater with growth in the district. So, for example, we're building a new water treatment plant for Cromwell. A component of that is a renewal because we have a current water treatment plant that we're replacing. A component of that is growth because you have to build it bigger to cope with more capacity for the growth needs of Cromwell. And part of it's a level of service, in fact, a large part of it's a level of service improvement because it's going to have protozoa treatment barriers and that can see this, but that doesn't have that.
So when you have development, do the developers pay
I've
help?
got slides specifically on that that I'm going to go through with you shortly, so I'll hold that question if that's okay.
Yep.
And like, yeah, so that's, we have this, we do the same with water and wastewater. Next slide. So then I've split that out. I split the CapEx also out by ward. If you look at that top, what we use for this proxy is the number of water connections each ward has. So as you can see, the Teviot has 4% of the total water connections. And then if you look at the expenditure, you'll see we're spending about 1% on water in the Teviot, 7% in the main total. 36% is district-wide for water. Now, district-wide is our renewal programs. And so I'll give you some examples of things that have been done district-wide. So when we replaced that big pipe that came down the hillside, that was funded as a district-wide project. So pipe renewals are funded tagged to the wards, they tagged to district-wide. So in the Teviot ward, we've made more investment in pipe renewals in the last 5 years than we have in the district. The lion's share of that money, because we did that pipe down the hill, which is really would have been our biggest pipe renewal project in recent years, and also did the one on Scotland as well, which is huge. So you get quite a lot.
Was that water or wastewater?
No, that was water.
Oh.
That big water pipes in, yeah. We did wastewater pipes and the Ranfurly water pipes in Roxburgh.
Thoughts on the name is involved in bringing the pipe in?
That's close to $1 million. It's about 900,000 dollars.
Yeah, and long and those for.
I couldn't tell you at the time, so it ended up costing me more than what we thought it was going to cost, because we ended up having to extend it further. It's the issues with the pipe, and also we put a rising main, so that previously all the connections were going all the way across the highway for one pipe, so we put a pipe on the other side of the road with a linking eventually, so that those pipes don't pick up the long way drop, so we need to pick up the road. And that's the practice in today's environment, having governments. And that costs quite a bit. So now this is the growth, right? So this might come up. So if you think back, you can see that and those previous graphs that Vincent and Common had the lion's share of the capital expenditure. And when we're funding growth related work, it's funded from development contributions. That's the theory, that's the intent. So any we collect development contributions to fund that component of our program. So if we have high investment to service growth, we're going to result in higher DCs. The developers can only be charged DCs on the scheme which it's impacting on. So that's no cross-subsidisation across the district. So that's a legal requirement. So Cromwell's needs some upgrades. But that's where the DCs are different by ward. So while we've got districtisation when it comes to DCs, it's a legal requirement that a developer in Cromwell only has to pay for the implications of his development on the ward. So the way DCs are calculated is we look we look backwards 10 years and we look forwards 10 years. And so they're calculated for the year based on what the projects have been in the last 10 years and the proportion of growth on each of those projects, and then what they actually cost. So we look back to see what they actually cost, and then we look forward where we're forecasting what things are going to cost and the proportion of growth amounts.
So is that on a ward basis, or are you talking district?
Ward basis.
So in the valley, there will be very little to go on.
Yeah, well, I'm going to explain to you. So for the likes of Alexandra and Clyde, what that is shown in the WS is the water supply. The new, so these are our drafts at the moment. It's not. This has got to go through some processes before it gets signed off. So what we're calculating on our current allocations is that for a section and applied to Alexandra, $22,252,000 for their water supply contribution and $17,601 for their wastewater, which gives them a total DC of $39,854 per residential. So that's actually an increase of $20,000 per lot on last year. And the reason Alexandra and Clyde has gone up so high is because we did the Clyde wastewater reticulation, and so there was quite a big growth component to that because it's opened up the ability for a whole lot of getting now to be developed. We've also built that Lake Dunstan water supply treatment plant, and so they had allocations of growth allocated to those, and the costs of those projects doubled. We doubled them. So when we look backwards, implications of those cost increases are coming through. And we've done a lot of investment in the Vincent Board in the last 3 years. So that's why these gone up. Cromwell's haven't gone up as much because they didn't have those large projects happening in Cromwell in the last 3 years. So apply. I'm as high because we're programming a water treatment plant and a wastewater treatment plant. Those, the combined value of those two projects is probably around $40 million. So for a size of town the size of Newcastle, that's a lot of investment. And then you'll see that rock scrap, you have the lowest, the most, I think $9,000. Landfill is cheaper. Yeah, so your DCs are calculated now. Like they're not much different to last year. I believe we applied inflation last year. That's probably about where we're sitting. So I've done everything for the calculation in the moment because it's not 100%, it's 7%. We take 100% off each of those. So we just subtract as was the difference, just like I drove down here. So does that make sense? So if we go and do a whole lot of growth related investment in the Teviot Valley, your DC will go up really, really high. And the reason it will go up so high is because we're not predicting like your growth rate. While you have growth, it's not as rapid as common. And so there's less properties to spread that growth cost.
So if we've got a spatial plan that's got aspirational sort of growth taken an aspirational view of our growth, which means that over the next 2 years, we've got 500 sections can develop there.
We don't,
Thanks.
we don't, slide. That's right, yeah, so in the slide, what's driving our investment in the first 3 to 7 years of this program is compliance, and you see that water is really high in the first couple of years, and that's because we've had kind of that thumbscrews on us by the drinking water regulator to get the act sorted out on the prototype areas, and then on the time to get that done. So we've got some big projects, relatively big projects, and we can deal with that. The growth stuff and water, I have to try to balance this out across the 10 years. We don't want to see a big barrel right in front and then tail off, because we can't, our local market deliver it, and we'll be paying premium at the flood market in the first 3 years. And we'll also, we just won't deliver because we don't have internal capacity, and that industry can't deliver it. So we know that we can deliver up to $30 million a year once we come in. But over 30 million is probably being a little bit unrealistic. Construction. Yeah, well, we just can't pump the work through fast enough of the construction. So we're trying to be realistic. That's trying to ramp it up, few years. There's a bit of work to get done to do that investigation and design standard for construction. So that we've got most of our growth sitting out of that year 6 growth budget. So we have that, and I've just been sitting with the planning team this morning. It's really important at the moment that we are tracking really closely where subdivisions are coming in and talking with those landowners around when they think they're going to come to market with those. So, to be honest, you're not going to get 500 lots happening in Roxburgh all at once. No developer's going to want to do that because they're not going to get a good return on their investment. So we track it. We have a calculation on what your DC income will be, and based on how many lots we anticipate coming on each year. And if we suddenly see the DC incomes coming in higher than budgeted, that's a really good indication that the growth happening faster than we had planned for. So therefore, we need to revisit our program.
But the DC's come in after they've been, sections being produced, do they not?
Yeah, but
In advance.
so the thing is that there's some capacity there. It's just, it's where, it's not just as simple as saying, oh, you're 500 lots, we need to put everything bigger. Your water treatment plant probably has capacity. Yeah, this is what's probably had.
No, there's a treatment plant wasn't coming along.
Yes, there's enough capacity that we will work on this for quite a while.
I think it was 160. Well, I was full, it would be capacity.
No. People have got this concerns about capacity treatment sites. But what we start to see is that there's pressure issues within the network. There's manhole lids popping during rainfall events because the amount of wastewater coming through is higher than the pipes can cope with. None of that's happening down here. It is happening in other places where at Benbourne there's low work pressure because there's too many properties in the ground. There's manholes and climbing that have been bolted down because otherwise in rainfall events right. So, that's, we're doing hydraulic modelling to understand it in those cases because we know we have issues. Globally, we know we have issues around pump stations, but we're not seeing any of that down here, like even close to it.
A lot of our stormwater goes underground straight away.
But it does everywhere else too, but it doesn't always people connect it.
Lower residents and so
Yeah.
With countries overseas, especially Denmark, they use grey water systems. And I have always questioned why, when we look at these huge developments going at water, why do we know water systems? Yeah, and they keep their green spaces green, and it seems to be a really good use of of water. And yet New Zealand, it's something we have never embraced, especially in Central.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see where the reviews of that are in the some of that stuff, because currently the original plan doesn't allow you to reduce rainwater as an irrigation source.
Yeah, even just something, you know, like in Denmark, everybody, you want to drink water, dishwater water, that sort of stuff is built communities that it goes into the toilets.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and that whole recycling and use of water, they've been doing it over decades now. Often wondered why we're not embracing.
Yeah, I think that there's, often, there's not necessarily a shortage of water, it's just the cost of pumping and treating. So there's parts of our district where we do have issues. Sourcing water, Ainsborough is terrible, and Ranford and Nays been problematic, but anything in the included catchment, there's not enough water, it's just the cost of treating it and distributing. It's the issue. Yeah, so just obviously for each board, I will be a bit more specific update on what's happening down here. So probably the biggest thing happening down here is the Lake Rochford Village wastewater treatment plant. You'll be a copy of this. Yeah, so that plant requires replacing, it's outdated technology, and the consent actually expired in 2023. It's not fully compliant. So our intent had been to have a new plant in place by then. We've got a design and build project ready to go out to the market, but we've been working with Ely because to get a new plant consented through the regional council, Ely had to sign off that they agree with what's been proposed. We are really struggling to get agreement. So
Why?
That's so this one I'm going to get Pokamui, which is the one towards the south. So you're unique in the sense of Otago that on all of our other supplies we just deal with that side of the Cricket River, but here we've been dealing with it's all in my Otago, but it's Pokamui and more so we're dealing with okay, right for the Otago, remember in for the southern Renata. So southern Renata have looked at what we're proposing and now we have, but Otago not. So they have got a view that it's a discharge to land, but it's a discharge to land that's beside the river. So they are considered discharge to land beside the body to be probably just a discharge to water. So what's happening here? We have a solution. So we have been granted another 5-year consent by the ORC to get us through another period of working on a solution. And there's new legislation due out this month, or the bill is out this month. I anticipate that will provide about 4 o'clock on the 4th of December, because it's there to be out by Christmas. And it's nice side of it here. And that's going to have, it's going to be huge, that piece of legislation for free waters. It's going to have lots and lots of requirements in it for us. But one of the things that they told us it's going to have is national standards for discharge just for wastewater. And those will be required, those that will see what the regional councils can put in the consent conditions. They'll have to follow those standards. So the one thing at the moment, you're in different parts of New Zealand, you can do different things. So it's all going to be standardised, and I think that this plant should be able through process with customer.
Queenstown, that was that particular one.
No, well, Queenstown will be more challenging because it's a much bigger plant, but part of this is like that. I think they've done this whole analysis. I don't remember how many it is, but it's like, something like around 10,000 plants in New Zealand that due to that serves towns under 1,000 people. And so it enables these ones to go through measures. Because we've spent a lot of money and a lot of time trying to figure this out. And when we first budgeted this 6 years ago, it was going to cost $900,000. it's now going to cost $1.6 million because time's not by and it's costing money. So that's where we think we'll be, where we can get it going next year, that it'll be in next year. That's our hope. Just depends on what the legislation says, but we've been advised by some very high number it's going to work for us. So for Roxburgh, wastewater treatment investment is triggered by two things, either you're non-compliant, which can be an issue, or secondly, depending on non-compliances, or secondly, the consent's expiring, because consent expiring is an opportunity to change the playing field. And we anticipate that when our consents expire, there'll be quite a step change required. So your consent for Roxburgh doesn't just expire until 2045, so we're not planning any massive upgrades over there at the moment. Your plant's been operating under an abatement notice due to exceeding its nitrogen limits and it's discharging, but it only happens over the winter months. It doesn't happen all year round. It's just for 3 months over winter we exceed the limits, and that's because it gets cold and the bugs in the pond don't do their magic as well. So we desludged the plants last year. That was budget for that project was $615,000 in the end, which was $500,000 thought it was going to be.
How checks will do that?
They'd say every 6 years, but we think given that we've been done and we like that if we program them every 10 years, that's probably a huge improvement on there. Yeah, so we did sort of put it in at 6 years and we got 10 years to probably. And we've now put all the screens and things in, so a lot of stuff that used to just flow into the pond and then settle gets taken out by screens. So yeah, wet wipes, all that stuff, you know, the 3 Ps. That's what you flush. Don't flush anything else.
And people still
over there.
doing wet wipes, are
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. And so the desludging has happened, and then we'll put an aerator on. That aerator will be in by winter, so then we can measure what that does over into the seafood and nitrogen levels. We're hoping that will work. We've done that. Changed the aerators at and made some changes to the operation, and the nitrogen is now within its limits of confidence. So we're quite hopeful around this. If it doesn't, then we're going to have to add another treatment process in, and that'll be a significant cost from the base to this $5 million very soon. So,
and that's in today's meeting.
yeah. So, yeah, we're fingers crossed. So we have in our previous budget of 400 million, we would have had 2 million in for another process, but we've taken it out now. So this is why I say this budget's got a bit more risk around it. We're hoping all the things, fingers crossed now, will work, whereas the previous budget was, yeah, that could go wrong in a budget.
Is there like an economy of scale to be achieved?
Yeah, and it's about what this national standard's trying to achieve, that instead of having all these plants being built all over the place that are all bespoke, there'll be packaged plants that have been brought in on the back of the truck and put in at the local coast.
Yeah, and they operate if they've got a certain amount of volume going through and economies.
These ones are all for towns with less than 1,000 people. So, yeah.
So where does the Roxburgh one discharge to?
It discharges to land over on one side of the river near the ponds.
Yeah.
So, if previously we thought we budgeted in 2045 for a significant cost here, because that disposal field would have been looked at by equally as the cost of the river. And so we would have needed to find a new site, pipe and this subsurface irrigation.
So is it, where the plantation was? Is it sort of just?
Yes.
Yeah, it would be really efficient to discharge to there because we're such a clean.
Yeah, but of course that's part of why there's not a lot of Yeah, inflation through. Yeah. So anyway, fingers crossed we'll be right there too. So for water, at the moment, we've just engaged BCAT to go for structural condition assessments at the concrete reservoirs in the district. So you've got two down here, one up here on Pelican, but Roxburgh, and also the Lake Roxburgh Village one. So yours are actually the first in the program to be replaced, and we think it will cost around $3.6 million dollars to do that. Based on what we spent to do the one out to build the one in Alexandra, 2 years ago. So we probably would have liked to have done that earlier, but we pushed it out. It's actually in year 9 and 10, because trying to level that curve out, level that those dollars out, and then got to push that out a bit further. So unless it's a compliance or a growth thing, I think we can hold it together for a bit longer. We've only got, the biggest issue down here is that we currently only have one operational bore, because the second bore's got, we can use it, but it brings through a lot of sediment. And even the existing bore has too much sediment in it for us to have the lever, the micron, that filter and the plant that we should have it to be compliant. So if we have that appropriate filtering within a few hours, it's locked up, and they're really expensive. So they put one in a slightly higher micron filter in it, which means it's now no longer compliant with the New Zealand drinking water standards. And then your water's treated, you've got UV and you've got bacterial treatment through chlorination, but the New Zealand drinking water standards require multi-barrier protection. So we will work with Tomato One on this, because it's not one that they're going, you guys, this is big time to sort this out. It is in the program, but it's out in this 5 and 6, I think, to do the money 2930 to achieve full compliance. So we do have money in next year to do some more investigation. We have been doing a lot of investigation now here, doing the boards and looking for how to do that. We have found a compliant groundwater source that we could use. And my project team are really excited. And then we looked at the line scale reading in it, and they said, well, it's within the range. And I said, it's got high line scale in it, but now it's under half a million. And we know what they thought about it. So it gets towards concrete, yeah. But I can't see the residents being very keen. But we could do that, and we would be compliant. And Tomato ROI would be giving us a big tip, and your community would be giving us the thumbs down. So we're trying to find a solution that's compliant, that the community won't be upset.
So you need a water source.
Well,
sort of like on this side of the river, but there isn't one.
Well, we do have a water source. I mean, we've got Cliffy River too. So at the moment we've got some wells just in front of our Reed's property. But they're getting a bit of sediment coming through that ground here. So we just need to look at whether there's some pre-treatment processes we we might end up monitoring that activity of the river over a long period to see what that looks like. It might be better to take a direct river source than be pulling through the news.
And take water out of the power scheme, out of the Teviot power scheme.
That has been considered, but I can't remember what the issue was here, but it did get considered as an option.
A huge volume comes out of it, right?
Yeah, but it's, once again, I think there might be actually integrity issue. Yeah, yeah.
And the Roxburgh Hydro Village, that has its water source straight from the lake, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was a problem. Yeah, so
So that's
that's,
probably,
yeah.
until the sediment is different.
No, they're connected, they Roxburgh's
Yeah,
connected.
that actually, it's not a good, it's still got the right water.
Yeah, but we feed to that,
No.
Yeah.
and then it feeds into the. So that's why we want to do this. Okay.
Sorry.
So, demand management, so this is going to be one of our consultation items. So we really need to reduce the water demand around district, particularly, the parts of the district that have high growth. Because otherwise we have to spend a lot of money on bigger pipes. And really some have to spend to actually reduce a little bit better. And there's too much is being used to water parks and irrigation sources where they could get a different source. They can put down walls and instead of taking through them. So we are currently charging 60 cents a kilometre, which is way lower when we look at other councils around New Zealand. We need to be 3 to 4 times for it to be. So as I said, consultation on them, it's going to impact parks and reserves and all rates charges as well. The next slide is the reasons why. So what it does is that in the high volumetric charge places a more realistic cost on the cost of us treating and delivering it around the network to households. And it actually improves the economics of moving large non-potable water use off Trinity Town supply to a bore or other irrigation supply. So at the moment, in the 40s, I've had this conversation with all the team and they said, why would we invest in putting down a bore? It's cheaper to the supply. And it's like, well, it might be cheaper for you, but it's costing the residents in a different way over here. So we need to kind of change. I'm using water as an example because there's lots of living stations out there using large amounts of town water for things that don't need a true water supply. That have that, they do have access to other sources. They're just not willing to invest in the infrastructure that they need to get that out. So we want to encourage them to do that so that we can free up water from them for household use and in this area. And the Manitoto, we have issues on land in certain houses as well. And there's some large water users out there as well, who are using that kind of farming, truck wash, all that sort of thing, that could use our water.
What about monitoring? And I know Roxburgh's probably one of the prime examples with the lines into the houses. Most of them need replacing.
Yeah, so that the meter will show even if they've got the so that from the meter to the house is their responsibility. They'll let the meter locations.
Yeah, so take our place, for example, I've replaced half with cutting. I knew where it went. And there are no plans. So I was wondering if there was, like a location service, or if council had a location service or a leak detection service.
There is a leak detection.
So that might inspire people to do something about it.
Really though, it's that people don't want to go looking anymore because the water's so cheap, it's not bothering much. So the average water use in the district is, I'm going to be strong now, 275 cubic metres a year, and the median is 275 cubic metres a year, and the average is 325. But and I've got a presentation I did for council, like a very small proportion of people of connections are using a large volume of water. So the implications of increasing the volumetric charge means we drop the manual charge. So currently we have one of the highest manual charges in New Zealand. We can drop it significantly. So people who use the average of a median, more 50% of people are going to pay less because they use less.
So it's going to really benefit like pensioners because they don't use very much water.
Low water use.
So they're like they scribble and save on their power bill. They also are probably frugal with their water. So it means they can get a lot of what they're getting now.
The average household won't pay more.
The improvement value was a bit not choosing.
Yeah.
But then, the things are going to be affected, like the rest home stuff, because it's going to get a lot more water. And that leak is expensive.
Yeah, so they do get a link from the
Yeah, it's crazy. you know.
7,000.
Yes, and how long did it take to find this? So we are, we're
It was in a place that it wasn't easy to find, but
Everyone's got a finance ring around the old hospital, all the way up.
So we are going to be doing water meter reads. Possibly, so. So it does free up capacity and network for field flex that we're using those philosophy. It'll reduce that fixed cost to households and then they have some control over how much they use. So they do, you almost be relevant.
Has everybody meted the
You're running our district, doesn't it?
No, that's great. That's it.
We are leading and charging the South Island on this. Selwyn district's the only other council that does that.
Fantastic.
But the need, so what I've been told is under the new stuff that's happening in the water industry and the need to get more funding. The legislation is going to say you must volumetrically charge, but the people who provide the funding have said the condition of getting higher leverage and higher debt will be that you have to do volumetric charging. So, one, the advice using one of the companies, I would say, this is going to be a lot of water meters going on in New Zealand, but you can say, yeah. So we just remember we're not making profit here. It's really just who's paying what. It's the same amount of money, just who's paying for it. And we're saying actually, if you're a high user, you should be paying a charge that's more reflective of your use compared to the average person. Oops. In terms of wastewater, obviously, we need to do a bit of demand management there around reducing stormwater infiltration into free capacity out for growth, particularly around Cromwell in Alexandria, but we've also got a consent condition for names being landfilled. So sometimes it's a place that you don't think will be a problem if you've got issues. We need to do better management of trade waste. The stormwater infiltration going into the ponds actually really affects the performance. It means that the wastewater doesn't stay in the pond for as long, it circulates through the cluster and you don't get this healthy activity if it's watered down more.
So it's a problem in Roxburgh.
Not really a problem in Roxburgh as such, but we've got these things just kind of happen all of a sudden. We haven't had a flow monitor on the inflow into the ponds, so we don't know how much more water goes in during rainfall events. Whereas in other parts of the district, we have a quite good understanding because we've actually had problems keeping up with the flow during rain events. But down here, it's a wee bit of a case of what we don't know. It's not necessarily we've seen some problem. I wouldn't say it's not a problem. I'd say we don't know that whether it is or not. So that flow meter's gone in there, so that we can monitor that. And we are going to have a new operational role within the 3 Waters team to address education enforcement around this. And trade waste is another one. You know, we haven't been doing any trade waste monitoring. So, like Alexandria, at the moment, we've got high operating costs because we've got a lot of fats, oils, and grease coming through, and it makes the whole process not work properly. You've got to remember everybody's paying for that. If we've got to increase operations costs on the Alexandria and was one in the district. So we have our issues for water operational costs are around, we've got some really big consequential obvious costs coming through from adding new treatment processes to meet the regulations. And so as an example, for electricity, before last, our budget for the year for electricity for drinking water was for $500,000 a year. And when that Dunstan water supply came online, electricity for that was $100,000 a year. Yeah. So, well, for 2 reasons. One, it uses a lot of electricity. 2, we weren't able to buy it under our previous contract by arrangement, so we were paying a charge for the elements as well. So we are seeing this cost quite heavily. we are going to have higher operating costs as more complex treatment processes require more operators to run them, so they cost more money. We're not making any provisions for implementing fluoridation. So people are, I see signs out there and people getting all excited about this. Until we get told we have to do it, I think we're not planning.
I think not maybe in the every town has going.
We've been told that they have, but we don't have to do it till they seem to tell you.
And then we'll find it.
Yeah. We haven't been telling us that they've identified that we're not doing it. We haven't had a letter telling us that we have to.
I think they're going to turn it over on the states quite seriously.
Well, I suspect they might have been told just to back off this month, but that's, you know, what that was, I don't know, that's definitely saying, it just seems to have gone quiet. So we're going to need to do better hybrid marking, this one have that balance the radar. And we're going to do an initial read round each year, so that costs a bit more money. But we're also re-tendering our key operations contracts. So that might result in some cost changes coming through, but we won't really know until those tenders close. So around early March, we'll have the understanding of this.
So are you reading, going to read meters 3 times a year? Which will improve the cash flow.
Yeah, and actually let people know that they've got those links or that they've got high points or things like that. We are conscious of them, people, if that volumetric component is high.
Yeah, we're going to leave this in house and not from reading now about it until the.
Yeah, most people don't. And so there is a lead provision policy that manages the reduction for once, but if you don't deal with it, you don't do it. So just to give you an indication, that that's kind of that's what we're seeing happening with the electricity rates over time. Yeah.
I've seen big data centres come online too. It's going to get worse because they're going to stuck it like this.
So we are going to do a bit of work looking at around maybe using solar or things that can offset that, but it's close to finish.
Last one, yeah.
Yeah, so the wastewater space, obviously we're getting electricity costs increases in that as well. So like 477,000, that's close to a 1% rate across the district. Pond sludge. So we desludged a pond last year. We had to desludge. We've got ponds at Roxburgh, Randomine has been from. Yours was the first one to get done because we're trying to get site things consent limits. Unfortunately, Randomine has been from Australia because it's a 1% rates increase given pond sludge. We try to keep the rates down with an annual plan, but we're not going to be away with it for another year because we're starting that ORC would be quite grumpy with us. So that sludge at Alexandra and Lake Roxburgh Village comes out way more regularly, and that gets converted down to Linton landfill, and obviously the landfill costs have gone up way up. So dealing with sludge has got really expensive.
Is it like a dry pond? You just chuck it in, wait for it to, and you put the sludge into a landfill.
So it goes onto a drying bed to try and get some of the moisture out of it, and then it just gets trucked down. So they've got a quarry down there, and as they're quarrying the rock out, they're filling with landfill and the whole six landfill site. And there's a lot of 89, yeah.
Does it settle further, or is it become a hard material?
I don't know. The more it becomes hard, I would imagine. Yeah.
The line we have to do with it.
Yeah. So we are doing some work to look at options more on a regional, probably with, with the inland with cargo sludge management side, because there's all different sorts of sludge to do with this, but it costs a lot of money to do it. You can make it more compost, you can make it more elements, fires, all sorts of things, but costs money to do it. That obviously is compost. Let's see.
Is that was an antibiotics?
So Julie, that we get about Fox Road.
Yeah,
And, you know, the council doesn't feel it has a responsibility to support this social.
so what, well, what you said happen next is that plan changes have to go through.
Yeah.
And so once plan changes are running, and we might really look at it, because it's too early for us to be, looking at it, we don't. But we certainly wouldn't see, probably that extension. Because it's probably, and if we did, it would be the development contribution funded, and it would be a huge cost for the property. All that, so, yeah, I think, I'm not sure what the opportunity would be for it was.
You gotta run too good. That's all right, man. It's something quite.
Thank you, though, very much. Yeah. Last bit, that's very good. Thank you very much.
Cool, that's good.
And you would come on.
Thank you.
5 minutes. You sure?
Yeah.
Okay. Right, we'll do my one, 5 minutes. Community vision. Here we go.
Hold on.
So this is the LTP workshop about what community vision doing over the next 2 years, essentially. So a couple of foundation pieces of work that we've undertaken over the last few years. So there's the district vision and regional identity. So those have been a piece of research, as well as the refreshed work and regional identity now being refreshed. Economic development strategy, which has been in draft at the moment, which has been obviously, again, a bunch of research done through community workshops feeding into that. And then the destination management plan that was released in 2021, which again was fed by community research. So those are the foundation documents, if you like, for my team and what we deliver on. These are all the different things that we do across the entire district. So community engagement is one of those. One of the big things coming up in the next 2 years will be local government elections. So how do we start getting people involved in that? Obviously, the long-term plan, but that is actually in this cycle. So I can't really talk to it in this next one, but there'll be the future long-term plan that my team will be a big part of getting people involved in that. Community plans, the Welcoming Communities program, looking at things like private-public partnerships and the Fruit Loss project, which is a big one for down here. Being involved in a number of regional partnerships, so things like the Cycle Trail Collaboration or Otago Regional Economic Development. Southern Way, which is another one that's listed up here, which is a tourism one across the ITOs across Otago Southland. I won't touch on all of these. Supporting events and attraction. So working with event organisers using the newly adopted event framework that Council was implemented last week for the attraction of events and supporting events in the district. Running things like Think Drinks and Startup Central in support of the program, which is the Men's Task Force for Jobs. So, sorry. Sorry, Jess. It's like a startup kind of, we do it, generally bounces between Cromwell and Alexandra, and it happens once a month, and it's just kind of a little get together of entrepreneurs and others who just want to get together and have a drink and share a few laughs, and we'll generally, Nick will arrange it to have a guest speaker, so they'll have different people come and speak at different times. So that's the district-wide stuff. Specifically for Teviot over the next 2 years, these are kind of the things that we're focusing in on, and much of this is already coming out of the plans that we've got. So attending local meetings, being at the business group, attending things like ACOS, so that's the Alexandra Community of Social Services. So whilst it's based in Alexandra, it actually is all the social services providers that across Central Otago. So that's from the likes of WINS through to Kainora, through to Presbyterian support, through to others that support our communities. Obviously being part of and attending business group meetings. The Roxburgh Trail Extension, obviously every time we get a chance to keep pushing that and plugging that, we will.
Where's it at now?
It is slowly progressing. Essentially my understanding is, and I don't have all the detail, but They're pretty close, if not confirmed, land access. Now it's just a matter of finding the one. So that's a great step
It's
because
gonna go inland, isn't it?
I don't know. Entirely. The Fruit Loss project, so that's still alive. That's a big one for down there. So that's been the project that Nick led, working between private public, about identifying how much fruit do we lose, whether it's a weather event, whether it just can't get picked, whatever it might be, and what alternatives there is for that fruit, so it can actually become a product that is viable. So growers aren't losing 30 to 60%. Yeah, so this is about actually making it a sellable product rather than storing it. So yours is about, yes, so the study went through, there's a whole lot of work. There's a whole lot of work that went into it, and the research sits on our website, and with others around what products can be created. Out of the fruit loss stuff. Yep, but it's whether or not that's actually a sellable product. So the program's come up with some sellable products that businesses have picked up. So Eden Orchards is one who are part of this program, who are using this work. Roxburgh Community Plan, obviously. So that's the piece of work that Rebecca is charging into for next year. And then, of course, the bottom one, which is a recent addition, is supporting the development of the master plan for this part of the district.
You should have told Maria that.
Yeah. Yeah, don't worry, it'll get included. And that's it. That's really kind of the areas of focus for my team over the next year, along with obviously the business as usual stuff. But these will be the ones that, for us, are focused in this part of the district. So obviously, if there's anything in there that you're like, maybe you should want to know more about.
In terms of priorities, trials.
Yeah. And that's one that we will nudge forward and push and prod, but it's not one we have direct control over.
No.
But we will always advocate, obviously, for the entire extension completely. Because it will unlock massive.
So we're an enabler for the whole valley.
Absolutely.
So we've spoken about attracting investors and what that actually means. Is that something you consider to a kind of frame for that?
Well, I think that sits inside the master plan piece, in my view. So I think, and we're kind of starting to see it happen now with Cromwell. I've literally in the last probably maybe 6 months, we've had 5 or 6 conversations with people who are keen to invest in the Cromwell region, and that is because they can see a plan on paper and starting to see that plan come along with the residential property development, with the industrial development. So they're going. Yeah, they're starting to see that there is real tangible outcomes happening, and there's a plan in place to realise that. So that actually your master plan will unlock that.
Yeah.
And that investment attraction. Because that's what investors want to see, right? They want to see that there's a future and that they're going to be return.
It sounds very awful, and this is just council as a generic organisation. The biggest killer to any growth in a long ways or getting stuff done is council. And though you have to start jumping through compliance scopes and all the rest of it, it just makes sense like it's so hard, and my husband's involved in commercial property, trying to get amigos going in Gore. Well, it was a nightmare. It was just a nightmare. It didn't matter what they did, came across compliance all the time. They spent the entire time with the council, and this person coming to check that, and that person, and the next person will be put forward, and it just went on and on. And in the end, the amigos guy went in to see them, and I think he just ripped them a new one and finally got things done. But council is the biggest.
The challenge is that it's often not the council. It's often the wrong government.
Yeah.
So the roles, you guys down there, you get to tell you.
I'm not talking about people. Yes, I was talking about.
You're talking about-
So that's the reflections from.
It's kind of.
They're not doing a great job.
The public.
You know, there's
But, Jill's,
personalities that.
no, you're not wrong, and I think particularly in food service, there's been a significant uplift in the regulations,
Yeah.
and it's been put on council, they have to do it, but it's coming around.
Yeah, you become bad cop all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool, thank you.
Thank you.
No worries,